Hello students, I'm here with another video from the chapter The Human Eye and the Colorful World from class 10th NCERT book. Before starting today's video, I would like to tell you all that till now what all things we have discussed so far in this chapter. So we started with the structure of human eye, where we saw the various parts of human eye, and then we have seen the working of the image formation in the human eye. And after that we saw that there are various powers of the eye, that is the power of accommodation, which is responsible, which is helpful in the process, because of which the pupil and means we are able to see the things which is nearby as well as in the far places. So if very easily we could see the things which is very close to us, or we could see the things which is very far to us. Okay, so both the cases it is the power of accommodation which is helpful in the process by which we could easily see the things which is present in the surrounding. Okay, so this is about the power of accommodation. Next we saw about the various vision defects which is taking place in the eyes, and which could be corrected with the help of a suitable eye lens. Okay, so here we have in the last class we saw about the vision defects, where we have studied about the nearsightedness, the farsightedness and astigmatism, and additionally I told you about the cataract and the presbyopia. So this was all about the vision defects, where we could see that image is either formed very far away from retina, or it is formed before retina. So what happens if the image is formed before or after retina, then we are not able to see the things. Now if we are not able to see the things, we need to get it corrected with the help of the suitable eye lens. So we have seen about these various vision defects. Now in today's video I will go on or move on to the next part of this chapter, that is the refraction through prism. So children, we have seen the refraction part from past some days. I told you about the refraction in the glass slab. Now we will study about the refraction through this glass prism. So this is the first slide, where you could see that the glass prism is somewhat, it is triangular in shape. It is triangular in shape and it is a 3D structure. So this is a 3D structure of the triangle. Okay, so prism is a 3D structure which is present, which is the 3D structure of a triangle. Okay, now this glass prism is it is an instrument which helps in the refraction of light. Okay, now when the refraction of light is taking place, it means what? So refraction, as we know, that whenever the ray of light passes from any transparent surface. Okay, now here this glass prism is again a transparent surface. So whenever a light is passed from any refracting surface, it bends. Now this bending ability of light, when it moves from the optically rarer medium to denser medium, or from denser medium to optically rarer medium, it bends from its normal point, or means from its normal phase. Okay, if it is coming in this way and if one refracting surface is kept, sometimes it starts bending towards the surface, or it starts bending away from the surface. Okay, so this bending is a phenomenon which takes place when there is a difference in the refractive index. So we have seen about this refractive index in the previous classes also. Now this refractive index means this refraction is taking place through a glass prism, is a bit different from which we studied under the refraction through a plain glass slab. So this glass prism is the place where the refraction is taking place once the light strikes. The light ray which is striking the surface, one of the surface of this glass prism, is known as the incident ray, as you could see here. Next, if it is going to refract, it is going to bend from its place. Okay, it is going to move in this way, and again once it is moving out from the next surface, again it is a refracting surface, it starts bending. So at two levels, from one it is the starting point and the another one is the the ending point, here the refraction is taking place. So these two are the places where refraction is taking place, and it is because it is having a two refracting surface. The ray which is moving from one side to inside this prism is known as the incident ray, and the ray which is coming out is known as the emergent ray. Now where are the other terms and how we are going to use them, let's find out. So when the ray of light passes through the glass prism, it gets bent twice, as in the air glass interference and in glass air interface. Okay, so here it is saying that the refraction is taking place at three levels, but we could see only two places where the one of the refractive index will be calculated for air, next refractive index will be calculated for the glass. Again, when the air will be this light will be moving from the glass to air, again it will bend at this place. So whenever the denser and the rarer medium changes, means whenever the refractive index changes, it is going to be refracted. Okay, the light ray is going to bend. So when a light ray is passing from a glass prism, it gets bends, it is going to bend twice at the air glass surface interface means it is the place at which the refraction is taking place. Okay, next is at the glass air interface, which is this part where the emergent ray is coming out. Okay, now if we are going to see about the means where we are going to find out this angle of incidence or whether it is present or not, let's find out. So here the ray of light which is passing from the optically rarer medium to optically denser medium. Now here air and glass, these are the two optical medium which is having the refractive index. So air is said to be as the rarer medium and the glass is said to be the denser medium. So this rarer and denser medium, here again the denser medium, when the light is moving from denser medium to rarer medium, it is again going to bend. So this refraction says whenever the bending is taking place, definitely there the refractive index might be changing because of the particles which is present in the air and the glass. They are hindering, they are not allowing the light to pass very easily. So it starts releasing its energy, because of which it bends towards the normal. Okay, or it moves away from the normal when it is moving from optically denser to optically rarer medium. So emergent rays, the deviation by an angle of incidence, this angle is known as angle of deviation. Now what is this angle of deviation? I'll just tell you. So here when the light ray is passing from one medium to another medium, it is going to touch here at somewhere in the surface of this glass, and we will draw a normal which is passing 90 degree to this surface. Now the angle between the incident ray and the normal is known as angle of incidence. Okay, for this angle of refraction is this one inside, because this straight line is working as a normal. Next thing is that similarly this emergent ray is moving out, this ray of light now becomes incident ray. So this is the angle of incidence and this is angle of refraction, which is ray is moving out. Okay, now if you are going to extend these yes, and of course yes, how is this angle of deviation is find it out. So this emergent ray is moving outside. Now once you are going to increase this length of the light ray backwards. Now why we are moving this backwards? Suppose that there would be no prism. So if no prism is present, means there is no prism, then what happens to this light ray? It is going to cross this lens, or this is going to cross this path straight away. It is not going to bend at all, because there is no glass or there is no another medium which is optically rarer or denser. Okay, so because of which the ray of light is going to pass in a straight line. Now if we are going to extend this line backwards, so what happens if we are extending it backwards? We could see that one of the difference in the angle is seen. Okay, means we are able to see this straight line which is coming from this angle of from this light ray, which we are extending this backwards. So it becomes angle of deviation. Okay, so this angle which is being formed here, as you could see here, it is written like in the form of D. This is known as angle of deviation. Okay, now we can see that this is the place, this is the difference because of which the emergent ray and the this one refracted incident ray, if it would have crossed in a straight line, this gives you the angle of deviation. Now I will show you one more diagram which sometimes is asked in your examinations also to complete this. If the incident part is given, emergent part you need to draw, and this is one of the practical of your 10th class in the 10th class syllabus also, where you need to find out the angle of deviation, or sometimes you need to find out the angle of emergence, you need to find out the angle of refraction. Now I'll tell you how to draw this with the help of a prism and some means pins. Sometimes we here in the labs we are going to use the pin, but if no pins are present, let's find out the things just assuming it. So here one light ray is passing from one medium to another medium. Okay, here what happens, the light ray is going to refract, so this is going to travel like this. It is going to bend slightly as the light has already been bent at the junction. Next what happens, the light ray is moving out. Now these two words is very clear. The first one is the incident ray. Okay, this PE is the incident ray. Next is the ray which is being refracted. Okay, so this is the refracted ray, EF. This is E, this is F, is the refracted ray. Now next, after refracting, it crosses from the other side of the glass prism by again bending. Now why this bending is taking place at the surface, I think this might be very clear to everybody, because the surface, the density, optical density of the surface is changing, because of which the light ray is passing, it is going to bend. So once it is bending, it is again refracted. This light ray is known as the emergent ray. Okay, so here it is written in the form of the alphabets. This F and S is the emergent ray. Okay, now next is we will talk about the angles which we could draw, which we could see here in this diagram. The first angle is the angle of prism. Where is this? This is angle A, and this is the angle of prism. This is the angle where the prism is inclined at it at this angle. Okay, now after that, angle of incidence is this angle which is being made with the normal and the point of incidence. Now this becomes point of incidence, and if we are going to draw a normal, it will be in this way, as it becomes 90 degree to the surface of this glass prism. Okay, it becomes 90 degree at the surface of the glass prism. So this is about the angle of incidence which is drawn. Its definition says that it is the angle between the incident ray, so this is the incident ray, and this is normal, so this angle becomes angle I. Okay, next what is angle of refraction? So once the angle of incidence is formed, just opposite to it will be angle of refraction, which is somewhere inside the glass prism. Okay, now from the next side, the light ray is coming out, which is the angle of which makes the angle of emergence. Now where is this angle of emergence is taking place? Okay, now it is taking place because some of the incident light ray is passing out from the other side of the lens, so this becomes angle of emergence. Okay, now this angle of emergence is made with the help of normal and this emergent ray. So this emergent ray is the ray of light. It is a ray of light which is crossing, which is passing out from the other side of the lens. Okay, other side of the means prism, not the lens. So here this angle is known as angle of emergence, and it is made with the normal and the ray of emergence, or the emergent ray. So it becomes angle E. As you could see here, it is being marked with the small letter E. Now next what you need to do is, again you will construct something. You will construct a ray of light. Now if suppose that if this glass prism was not present, the ray would have passed in straight away in this manner. So if the ray of light is passing straight, and so it is drawn in the form of this dotted line, and this normal is this emergent ray is present over here. Now if you are going to extend this backward, it is going to show certain place, it is going to show certain part. So this part, which is the distance from angle of emergence till this constructed line, is known as angle of deviation. Now it is the difference between it is a ray is deviated by an angle to the incident ray. Okay, so this is the difference between the incident ray and the emergent ray, and this gives you angle of deviation. Okay, so this angle of deviation, or simply we write it as a D, is the difference between the emergent ray and the incident ray. So children, this was about the refraction through a glass prism, where we saw that these all parts are present in the ray diagram of this prism, where emergent ray is there, where the incident ray is there, which is making the angle of incidence. Again it becomes angle of refraction. This is again a angle of refraction. This is angle of incidence. Okay, now this angle of incidence is, why it becomes angle of incidence? Because this light is incidenting from inside. That is why it is angle I, as it is written over here. This is angle I. Okay, now the angle R is present here, which is known as angle of emergence. Now here we are not going to call it as angle of refraction, we'll call it as angle of emergence, because it is emerging out, it is coming out from the another side. So this is angle of emergence, which is written in the form of angle E. Then if we extend this backward, we can see there is a distance between this emergent ray and the constructed ray. This is known as angle of deviation. Okay, so this was all about the refraction through glass prism. Now we will move on to the next slide, where I'll show you certain phenomena which is related with this glass prism. So I think you all could recognize this picture very easily, as it is a very clear picture which is showing you the different colors when the white light is passing from the prism. Okay, it breaks up into 7 colors. So what is this phenomenon known as? Yes, I think you all could recall this, as it is written over here also, and it will be very easy for you all to understand. So this dispersion is the phenomenon by which the white light splits up into 7 colors. So this colors is splitted because of the presence of this glass prism in the center, where the light ray is passing from the other one side, it is emerging out from the other side. Okay, so this dispersion of white light by a glass prism is there, which is this dispersion is because of the movement of this light ray from one place to another place. Okay, so when a beam of white light is passing from a glass prism, it splits up into the band of 7 colors. It is a band of colors, and this band of 7 colors is known as spectrum, and this phenomenon of splitting up of light is known as the dispersion of white light. Okay, so what is this dispersion? Dispersion means it is the splitting up of the white light into its constituent colors. So what are these constituent colors? It is the 7 colors, or this is the spectrum. This spectrum is the band of 7 colors. Okay, so this is known as the band of 7 colors or the spectrum. Okay, the next is the spectrum of colors consists of violet, indigo, blue, yellow, orange and red. So this consists of violet color, which is starting from the lower side, violet, then indigo, then you could see blue, green, yellow, orange and red. So this the first letter of each and every color is going to form this next another word. This is known as Vibgyor. So this is the short form for understanding the spectrum and what all colors are present from bottom to the top side, which is known as Vibgyor, or it is also the spectrum, and it is made up of 7 colors. 7 rainbow colors are also formed because of this dispersion. Okay, because of this spectrum. So whenever the white light is present, so this white light is going to have several colors, and this could be proved with the help of this prism experiment, where the white light is passing from the glass prism is going to be splitted into these band of 7 colors, which is known as spectrum, and these colors are named as Vibgyor, which is Vibgyor. Okay, so this red color bends least, and you could see the bending is very least. Okay, so it is moving away from the normal. So this is the red color which is at the top, of the spectrum, and the violet color bends most. It has a large refracting property, that is why it is at the bottom. This is the first color which you could see in the splitting of light. So this red until violet, it is the band of 7 colors. Okay, so this was about the dispersion of white light. Next, we will see one more phenomenon. Now, what happens? Is it possible that when a prism is dispersing a light like this, white light is being dispersed with the help of the prism, is it possible that if we combine these 7 colors, it again becomes the white light? Now, this only is proved by the next experiment, which is the recombination of the spectrum of white light producing a white light. Okay, now what happens when the 7 colors are being rejoined? Spectrum means recombination of spectrum. Here the spectrum is being formed, as you could see here when it is in the written in the diagram. So this spectrum, as you could read over here, VIBGYOR is formed, this spectrum is seen. Now if you are going to combine these 7 colors, are we able to get this white light? This is the question which is coming, which arose in the mind of the scientists. So they found that yes, of course, when we are going to join the VIBGYOR, or when we are going to recombine the spectrum of white light, it is going to produce a white light. Okay, so this white light, which consists of red to violet color, if you are going to keep one more prism just opposite to the first one, okay, upside down to the first one, then again this red and violet color is going to be refracted, and after once it is emerging out from the other side, it becomes again the white light is being observed. So we are going to get this white light once 2 prisms are kept at the opposite ends. So when a beam of white light is passed through a glass prism, it splits into its component colors, this you know, and when these colors are allowed to combine, these are allowed to fall on an inverted glass prism, it combines to form white light. Okay, so this is about the beam of white light. This is about the recombination of the spectrum of white light, which produces the white light. So the spectrum is consisting of red to violet color. So these red to violet colors is being combined with the help of another prism. When it is kept upside down, it is kept inverted in front of the first one. So this is prism number 1, this is prism number 2. If they are kept in such a way, and then what happens, the white light is splitting up. Once it is going to split up into the spectrum, now in front of the spectrum, the another ray of light is present, which is coming through the prism, which is it is there. So what happens, it combines and comes out from the another side, and it becomes the white light. Okay, so this is known as the combination of spectrum to form a white light. So this proved that yes, the recombination of spectrum is, we are able to see the light which is in white in color. So the spectrum, as it consists of 7 colors, when we join the spectrum, it becomes white light, and when we split white light, it becomes 7 colors. These two phenomena are connected to each other. Now this one more experiment was given in the lower class, as far as I remember, where you can make a disc which is showing you, which is made up of 7 colors, but when you start rotating that disc, it is going to be appearing as a white disc only. All the colors are going to blend inside. So this was the experiment of Newton's color disc. It is known as Newton's color disc, if I am not wrong. So this is known as Newton's color disc, which is formed on a circular disc, which is made up of white color, which is painted white. Then again you draw all these VIBGYOR in the pattern. Okay, VIBGYOR, you are not writing it, you are just coloring it with violet, with red, with indigo. Okay, so this, after coloring, just fix one pencil here in between, and you rotate it fast. Once you are rotating it, you will see that 7 colors becomes invisible. So why this is becoming invisible? Because white light consists of 7 colors, which is being splitted with the help of the glass prism where we saw the spectrum. Okay, so this was about the recombination of spectrum of white light produced with the it is going to produce a white light. Okay, so once the spectrum combines, it forms white. Next is the some of the natural phenomenons which is occurring in the nature because of this dispersion of light. So first we will study about the scattering of light, which we could see in these different pictures of in this slide you could see the different pictures of forest where the light is passing from one medium to another medium, means it is passing through the dense canopy of the forest where the light is going to scatter. So the scattering of light means it is the throwing up of light in various random directions. As you could see here in the picture, it's very clear that whenever the tall trees are present, the ray of light which is coming from the sun, means sun ray, when it is coming from the in between the trees, so this in between, whenever it is coming in between the trees, it is going to fall, it is going to move from it is going to move in different directions. So this random scattering, this random movement of the sun's ray is known as scattering of light. So the scattering of light means it is the throwing of light in various random directions, and the very perfect example is this light, which is sunlight, which is being scattered from the dense canopy. And you could see that a scattering of light in during the sunrise and sunset also. Sometimes it becomes red in color, so the color is means some colors you could see the scattered over the sky. So this red and orange color which is being scattered in the sky is because of this dispersion. So this scattering is another phenomenon of light when the light is passing from one direction to another direction in random places. Okay, so this is about scattering of light. Now this scattering of light is also known as the Tyndall effect when it is taking place in a certain direction. Now scattering, I told you that it is going to move in various directions, but once the light ray is passing, it is going to scatter in different direction, in different part. It is the scattering. But if it is scattered in a scattered in a particular path, then it is known as Tyndall effect. Okay, so this Tyndall effect, Tyndall was the name of the scientist, and the effect which was discovered once the light ray is passing, it is making a pathway, and this pathway of light because of scattering it is formed. This is known as the Tyndall effect. So when a beam of light is passed through a colloidal solution, why colloidal solution? It is clearly visible in that colloidal solution, that is why it is written. The path of light becomes visible due to the scattering of light by the colloidal particles is known as the Tyndall effect. So this Tyndall effect is as a result of the scattering of light. Okay, so this light ray is passing from one place to another place. It is going to scatter, it is going to form one particle, it is going to fall in a particular path, that is known as the Tyndall effect. Okay, now this Tyndall effect is again the way of scattering of light. The Earth's atmosphere contains air molecules. Now how is this taking place? Let's find out. So the Earth's atmosphere consists of air molecules and water molecule, droplet, dust particles and smoke. When the sunlight is passing through the atmosphere, the path of light becomes visible due to the scattering of light by these particles. As you could see here in the diagram also, the clear picture of the scattering of light is being shown. Now why it is so that it is moving in a particular direction? Okay, now if you see the dust, a room is full of dust particles, and you just throw a ray of light, a beam of light there inside that room which is full of dust particles, then what you will find? You will see that a particular cone like structure is being formed. Okay, so this is known as the Tyndall effect, where the sunlight is passing from the atmosphere. The path of the light becomes visible due to the scattering of the light from these particles. Now these particles means the particles of dust, smoke, droplets, water, air, which is whatever is present in the surrounding, whatever is present in the atmosphere. So this is known as the scattering of light. Okay, and this is known as Tyndall effect because it is following a particular pathway. Now the color of scattered light depends upon the size of the scattering particle. The color of the scattered light is dependent upon the size of the scattering particle. Now very fine particles scattered blue light and the larger particles scattered different colors of light. So remember these things, that whenever the scattering is taking place, the scattering is because of the air particles, it is because of the droplet particles, it is because of the dust particles, because of which the atmosphere is full of these layers, the atmosphere is full of these things. Okay, so this is that is why the scattering is taking place at various angles. Now if the particles are very fine, okay, very fine dust particles are only present, then the blue light gets scattered, means we see blue light, it will be visible. And if larger particles are responsible for scattering of light, it is going to show different colors. So different colors of scattered light will be shown by the larger particle, which is helpful for the scattering. So in this we have seen about the Tyndall effect and scattering of light. Then we saw about the prism, where how it is working when the light ray is passing from a prism, means refraction through a glass prism. And we have also seen by the combination of two prisms we can find out that the light ray, which is white in color, also consists of Vibgyor. It also consists of spectrum of 7 colors, a band of 7 colors. And also we saw that when the spectrum is combined, it forms a white light. Okay, so children, that's all for today's video. I will meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be discussed.